Listen, this isn't about playing games. It's about one simple truth. Most women are wired, socially and emotionally, to be pursued. From a young age, they learn the dance. Attention, compliments, small proofs that they're wanted. So when that pattern breaks, when you quietly step back, it hits them in a place that isn't pretty. It hits their identity. Picture this. You used to text back fast, laugh at the jokes, make weekend plans. Then you stop. Not angry, not dramatic, just less. At first she thinks you're busy, maybe work, maybe family, maybe stress. But curiosity turns to nagging doubt, and that doubt grows into panic, a silent, sharp panic that lives in replayed texts and late night rewinds of moments you shared. 1. The quiet panic. Say this like it's close to the mic. The first thing she feels isn't anger. It's a little panic. Not the movie kind. Quiet. A cold flutter that lives in the gut. Picture her on a Tuesday night. Phone face down for an hour. At first she shrugs. Oh, he's busy. But then she replays the last message. The laugh that used to come easy. The plans that dissolved. That replay becomes a loop. She starts hunting for the exact second she lost him. Women are trained socially to be sought out. Attention is a language. Compliments are signals. When those signals stop, something in her map of how things work goes fuzzy. So panic shows up as small habits. Checking your last scene, rereading old texts like they're evidence, judging every silence as a verdict. It's not always loud. Often it's a blank look across a room, a cup of coffee gone cold, a story watched twice. Now imagine a tiny scene. She sits on her couch scrolling old photos. It's a low heat kind of torture. She's not dramatic. She's not shouting, just quietly counting the pieces of herself that seem to mean something to you. That's the panic. It's personal because it attacks identity. She asks herself the questions no one wants. Was I not enough? Did he find someone better? Did I lose him without knowing? Those questions sting because they attack a core belief that she is desired, noticeable, wanted. One more thing about this panic. It's messy but clever. She won't wear it on her sleeve. Pride keeps it folded. So she covers it with casual messages, small probes, a random hey that seems harmless, a meme sent like nothing's wrong. But behind that meme is a thermometer. She's taking your temperature, hoping the fever will return. If it doesn't, the panic deepens. That early panic sets the stage for everything else. It makes her hyper aware. It makes her test. It makes her put on masks. And yes, you can see it as weakness, or you can see it as an instinct. When something she relied on vanishes, she reaches for ways to find it again. The heart doesn't always speak clean logic. It acts. And in those first small panics, you can see the whole play begin. 2. Hyper-awareness. After panic comes a strange, sharp focus. She's suddenly studying tiny moves like they're major clues. Your one-word reply, a sign, a laugh that's softer, evidence, the time it takes for you to watch her story, a headline. Her mind turns into a magnifying glass and every little thing is now meaningful. Think of it like this. When a flame goes from bright to dim, you start inspecting the wick. She will watch your tone, watch your pauses, even notice that you breathe differently on video calls. That hyper-awareness is exhausting for her, and it's exhausting for you if you don't know what it looks like. You may think you're being normal, but she counts things like measurements, how many times you text, how often you reach out, whether you ask her questions that matter. This stage creates a feedback loop. She scrutinizes your actions, then changes her behavior in reaction to her own scrutiny. So a short message from you creates 1,000 guesses in her mind. Is he bored? Is he done? Did I say something wrong? Those guesses lead to small corrective moves from her. She might try to be funnier in chats, share more about her day, or send pictures she once kept private. It's not showy at first, it's tactical. You'll notice a tone shift. Where conversations were easy, they now feel loaded. She asks simple questions that feel like tests. Remember that night? Or do you still like that band? On the surface, it's casual, but underneath, she's measuring whether she still matters. If you show warmth, she breathes. If you're flat, she tightens. This hyper-awareness is a kind of survival instinct. She's trying to gather data to figure out if this distance is permanent. The key for you is to recognize whether your own pullback is intentional, for boundary or for disinterest, and then act kindly. because playing with someone's mind at this stage creates a mess. More tests, more posts, more performances. Or if you choose calm clarity, it might shorten the loop and stop the overthinking. 3. The tests, small moves with big meaning. Once she's watching, she starts to test. Tests aren't always dramatic. They're often tiny things dressed up as normal. A late night text, a vague post, a mention of someone else. But each little test carries one hidden question. Do I still matter? That's the truth behind the theatre. Imagine a simple midnight hey from her. You think it's casual. She thinks it's a probe. Will you reply fast? Will you add heart emojis? Will you ask about her day like you used to? The speed and style of your reply are the scoreboard. She's not only checking your reaction, she's checking whether she still controls the space in your mind that she once had. Tests can be visual too. More stories, more photos, a selfie that seems spontaneous but is chosen with care. She wants to see if you notice. Will you swipe up? Will you comment? This is the social media age's version of calling someone by accident to see if they pick up. If you respond, she gets a warm hit of validation. If you don't, she gets another bruise. There's also the memory test, bringing up a shared moment like it's small talk. Remember our trip? It's a baited line. If you respond with the old warmth, she's reassured. If you're dry, she senses the shift. And then there's the jealousy test, a casually dropped name, a picture with another man in the background, an overheard compliment. These are dangerous because they play on primal fears, and many men will react. If you do, she wins back ground. If you don't, the weapon fizzles. Importantly, tests escalate. If early probes don't get the reaction she wants, she'll push harder. More posts, more calls, more storylines that scream, "Look at me." The pattern is simple. Attention lost, panic, test, escalate. For men who know what they want, there's a choice. React and reward the testing, or stay steady and let the tests stop on their own. 4. The mask of indifference. Performance, not freedom. When tests don't pull you back, many women switch to a loud option, the I don't care act. It's tempting to read it as confidence. On the surface, it looks like freedom. More parties, brighter posts, new clothes, but most times it's a mask. This stage is theatre dressed as independence. Here's the thing, real indifference doesn't need to be announced. If someone truly moved on, they wouldn't stage it. They wouldn't post constant proof of happiness or drop selfies in a way that begs for notice. What she's doing is an armor move. Mask up, pretend you don't matter, hope you notice. She arranges her life like a highlight reel, not because she's suddenly fulfilled, but because she wants to send signals that stir you. You'll see subtle changes, fewer calls that actually matter, more posts that read like messages, laughter that looks just a little too staged. She'll say lines like, "I'm focusing on me," or "I don't need anyone," which read strong, but often carry a soft panic. Those words are shields, tools to avoid appearing weak. The public performance is meant to create doubt in you. Maybe she's fine, maybe she's moved on. That doubt can push a man to chase, which is the point. This mask also serves another job, pride saving. She hates looking like she lost, so instead she puts up a version of herself that's loud and unbothered. It's a gamble. If you react, she's validated. If you don't, eventually the mask cracks because sustaining theatre eats energy. Real people get tired of acting. When the show ends, something real might emerge. Sadness, acceptance, or sometimes respect. If you're the man stepping back for clarity, watch this stage closely. Don't confuse noise for truth. And don't weaponize your withdrawal into mean silence. If your distance is an honest choice, hold steady with calm. If it's cruel, you'll spark more performance, more games. The mask of indifference is not strength. It's a response to fear. 5. Jealousy, the trigger, and the desperate chase. If masks and tests don't work, many women play the oldest card, jealousy. It's blunt and it's primal. Jealousy is designed to create a reaction, to make you feel threatened, to make you act. This stage is often loud. Photos with other men, flirtatious comments in public, stories that hint at romantic interest elsewhere. The goal? Force you to choose. This tactic works because it touches something deep in most men. The urge to reclaim. When you see her with someone else, even in a staged photo, something in you might tighten. That tightening is the cue she's hunting for. If you show discomfort, if you question her, if you rush to prove ownership, she wins. She proves that she still matters enough to trigger you. But what happens if jealousy fails? If you stay calm, if you don't bite, the tactic backfires. She starts to feel hollow because every attempt that doesn't move you erodes her confidence. Jealousy then becomes a mirror. It shows how much she's willing to risk to win you back and how thin the tactics are when no reaction follows. When jealousy is exhausted, desperation can follow. That's the chase. Suddenly, the woman who once tested quietly becomes the one who reaches out, who rearranges her schedule, who pours on affection. It's raw and often convincing. Men see it and think, she changed. But often this change is about survival, not growth. She's trying to repair the loss of control, to get back to a place of safety. The danger for men is mistaking the desperate chase for true change. Accepting the chase as proof of love can trap you in cycles where fear-driven behavior gets rewarded. If you want something real, look for consistent change over time, not a sudden rush of attention born from panic. If your withdrawal was meant to test boundaries, be careful what you reward. 6. Acceptance and the strange birth of respect. After all the panic, tests, masks, jealousy, and chase, there's often a quieter end. Acceptance. Acceptance isn't a grand speech. It's a slow settling. She stops performing because the performance doesn't work. She stops testing because the tests reveal nothing. The noise dims, and what remains is a cleaner truth: your interest has shifted. What's surprising is what sometimes blooms from that silence: respect. When she realizes you won't be swayed by dramatic plays, she may start to view you differently. Not as someone to be manipulated, but as someone steady. That steadiness cuts through the typical patterns. It says, this man's value doesn't hinge on my validation. That's rare, and it commands something like admiration. Acceptance is mixed. There's sadness, yes, because something that was once close now lives in memory. But there can also be clarity. She sees what she tried to control, and you see what you wouldn't trade. Sometimes respect breeds genuine change in her, not a tactical shift, but a deeper rearrangement of how she approaches relationships. Other times, respect means she lets go, but carries a new benchmark for future partners. For men, the lesson is simple. Authenticity outlasts games. If you pulled back for clarity, stay honest. If you lost interest, be kind and clear. The power move isn't to hurt, it's to be steady, to show self-worth without cruelty. When you do that, you either inspire real growth or you walk away leaving a quiet, lasting mark. Remember the small story. A man who didn't chase, not out of spite but out of peace, later heard from her that she respected him for not running. That respect didn't guarantee a reunion. It wasn't a prize, but it changed how she remembered him. That memory, steady, unbothered, honest, often matters more than the loud games ever did. When a woman realizes you've truly stopped chasing, her world doesn't collapse. It rearranges. The silence you left behind starts echoing louder than all the words you once said. She'll test, she'll perform, she'll pretend, but deep down, she knows something's changed. See, it's never the loud break that hurts the most, it's the quiet shift, when the man who once gave her everything now gives her peace instead. So don't chase, don't beg, don't try to prove your worth, because the moment you stop needing her validation, that's when she finally sees your value. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay you, because when you walk away with peace, that's